So, after the 0-1 finals, the Lakers, Kobe and Shaq, were going to try to go for the elusive three-peat. And so in the regular season, they had a good record, whatever. But Shaq didn't play the whole season, so that's a thing. And then obviously the most controversial thing about this season will be the Western Conference Finals with the Kings. Bum, bum, bum.
So the final year of the three-peat, right?
Yep.
Just so I'm on the right year, right? 0102?
Yeah.
Okay, so Shaq and Kobe, both top 5 in MVP voting.
Yep.
Shaq only played 67 games. But Kobe played 80 games. When did he...
This just shows that the league was sucking Shaq's cock at this point, but keep on.
Well, I want to see when he didn't play. He was suspended for 3 games.
Hey, I wonder. He probably punched someone or some shit.
Let's see how Kobe did. So, the 14th to the 19th of January.
30 through 33 is the games. Hey, talk your shit, Kobe. Talk your shit, Kobe.
So we have 3 blowout wins where Kobe averages 27, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. That's the first part. So we got a couple more games that Shaq missed. Did not dress on the 6th of February.
Hey, load management. Good
Kobe Bryant on the 6th of February.
I should not be talking shit because
that was a loss, but Kobe dropped 38 points.
Yeah, let's go.
So it was only an 8-point loss. I was really surprised with the double-digit blowouts. And Detroit's in there too, and they're on the. I'm pretty sure they're getting better at this point. But hold on, we got a couple more. Oh, sure. Kobe was suspended this season too. Lots of.
Hey, talk your shit, Kobe.
So
against the Nets.
02. All right, so 66 and 67. I'm really looking at when Kobe was by himself.
Yeah.
Because these are rare, you know what I mean? These are rare games for. So we got 33 and 26 points and 2 losses. So he's basically 500.
Yeah.
Without Shaq.
Yeah.
Which is indicative of something we're going to see later on in his career, where he's scoring a lot of points, but he's about 50-50 with his wins. Yet, he's top 5 in MVP voting. And somebody gave him a first place vote.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the worst. This is one of the worst Kobe years, in my opinion.
Why?
Because look at the year before. So we're down 5 points, right? Yeah, we're down almost 5 points. He was 28 points per game the year before, right? They went undefeated in the playoffs that year, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, almost undefeated. They only lost 1 game.
Yeah, 16 and 1.
Yeah.
It was the best record alone for a long period of time. This season, because nobody else went 16 and 1 until the Warriors did.
No, I think up to Kobe's point or before that, because before that I think the 76ers in 81.
Oh shit! They did. You're right. That's right.
But wasn't the seeding different back then? So it wasn't technically like 16 and 1 because there weren't as many games.
Yeah, it might have been like 15 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
They swept the first round.
Yeah.
They swept the first round. Did his numbers go up in the playoffs? We always look at that, and I forgot to look at
that. I think so.
I just think it's really showing that Shaq, despite only playing 67 games, was ahead of him in MVP voting by a good chunk.
But it's like, but there's a stigma to it, though.
Okay, explain.
So it's like no one. It's the same shit, and the only reason I mention it is because it's like similar, but like KD and Steph, you're never gonna think Steph. You're never gonna put Steph over KD for MVP because it's like, you know that you have the best.
I mean, I don't know if that's fair. I think that's a weird. That depends on like the day, because it like I don't know. That's a shooter's.
Nah.
That's a shooter's thing. And they kind of do the same things on the floor, especially offensively. Like
So I mean, we could go.
with these guys, they do polar opposite things on the floor. They play with power, but one plays on the outside and one plays very much on the inside.
Yeah, but I think for one, Shaq had been dominating the league for years already, and then you got the media didn't like Kobe as much, and we know that MVP is a media thing too. Like, so it's like there's a lot to it than just this is how good this person was. Because if you look at those stats are like pretty. To me, it's pretty. When like most people,
when I'm looking at the stats surrounding this number, it proves my point that it's a down year, like definitively for him.
Well, I think it's a down year for the team. I think at that point things started boiling over. Like it was already starting to happen in 01.
We can tell by a couple of suspensions.
yeah. So like I think there's definitely a lot of shit going on, obviously, and we all know that there was so much shit going on between Kobe and Shaq at that point.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little mixture of the chemistry issues, and I don't because Shaq also I guess it's like a down year for him too.
It's like statistically it's not 27-10. I mean, well,
go to the year before.
Maybe I'm wrong on that. Hold on, maybe I'm wrong on that because this is also very. This is like right 2 years away from him winning the MVP, or 2 years before he won MVP.
So you start seeing him dip a little bit.
And you know what? I think you're right. I think that's.
And I don't think it's really just because Shaq isn't great, because obviously he won Finals MVP this year and he dominated throughout a good amount of the playoffs. I think it's more of a chemistry thing than players not being good for whatever reason, because we know chemistry can fuck with, I guess, the statistical part of shit.
Yes, but when we get into the playoffs and we get to, like I said before, this is a completely different scenario than they had the year before, where they were just completely down.
Yeah,
they had, they dominated San Antonio again. I'd like to acknowledge that because I feel like that's an ongoing theme in the early 2000s here.
Yeah. Obviously there's a rivalry between them.
Yeah.
And that was the series I was just looking at that I thought was weird, seeing Shaq just dip down. I don't know why, but
mean, when we look at years before, Phil Jackson liked to run through Kobe against the Spurs.
Yeah, that is true.
I was definitely noticing that.
Isn't this the series? Is this the series with the Fisher shot?
God damn, I think so. The .4? Yeah.
Yeah.
So. 29, 17, 3 blocks, and almost 5 assists for Duncan.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
That's a...
Yeah, it's wild.
What happened? Scroll down a little bit more, my bad. Like, were there injuries or something? Like...
No, they just didn't. He didn't have anybody else that stepped up.
Robinson was just... He didn't do shit this series.
Yeah. He just didn't have, and this was, he put up 30 shooting 42% for Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredibly inefficient for a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of efficiency, Kobe shot 51%, I think, in this series, didn't he?
No, he didn't. Not even close. 45.
Wait, what series did he do? Oh, no, I know what I'm talking about. It's in the finals. My bad. I'm tweaking. 46.
Oh, that's amazing. No, this is what I really want to talk about, and this is what we're going to get into right here, because this is the biggest part of this season.
Yeah, this is a historic series. By the way,
this series right here.
If no one knows about the 2002 Sacramento Kings Lakers series, then they should just figure out shit about basketball, because they don't know enough.
Before we get into the actual game film, and we will get into the game film, I just want to look at the basketball reference, because very rarely is that done for this series. So, Shaq, 30 and 13, really flipped it. Just going to my point that they work Kobe with the Spurs, always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kobe, 27 a game. They really smacked them in terms of like 1-2 punch shit.
Yeah.
Solid from both of them. And then when we go to the Kings team, one of the best teams to not win a championship. 5 players in double figures. Webber,
team basketball.
25, almost 11, and 6 assists with a steal and a block. Man, that's a guy I would like to look at in the near future is Chris Webber, because people say he's all-time great, and I can think of like a very brief period of time where I could say that, and this was it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only can think of this.
Yeah, looking at him. And outside of that, like he's like okay, he's like all-star level. But anyways,
and you want to know what? It's probably because most people, probably including Shaq, think that they got screwed. He got screwed in this series, and he should have a championship. So
yeah, that's true. So, and it would have made a difference in somebody like me, for somebody like me if he had a ring.
Yeah.
Look at a guy like Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
Similar style career, but that one championship run like made him.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like Kevin Garnett, his ring.
Yeah, so it definitely solidifies you. Like if you are at least at the cusp of like being a great, that ring just kind of puts you there. Like it's just like you have to talk about this person now.
Yes. So
like you can't go through NBA. Obviously, you can't go through NBA history without mentioning the rings, and then you're always gonna mention the best player.
Charles Barkley. I'd like to have a word with you guys because he's still talked about, but he ain't got no rings.
But not as much. Like
he's talked about mostly because he's on television and he gets to say things, and that's what keeps him relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, he would probably be not as relevant, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Ironically, all those guys that don't have rings are on TNT.
Because, like, when you think about it, Karl Malone is a perfect example. If anything, he did more than Charles Barkley throughout his career.
Yeah,
and he's not talked about at all. And it's because
I think it's because his personality sucks and nobody likes him.
But Charles Barkley's personality sucks too. But it's just
who you ask, Glenn.
Yeah,
I love Charles Barkley. I think he's so great.
Like Charles
a lot of people hate him though. Like I like Charles because I think he's just a great basketball mind. But a lot of people don't though. Like they think that he's an idiot, and I'm like, you just got to look through the dumb shit he says and like actually listen.
That's just because he always sounds like he's got a mouthful of marbles, but that's not his fault. That's not his fault. Okay, he's not dumb. He has a mouthful of marbles.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
All right, I'm gonna get into this series now, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
At some point. All right, so Lakers take game 1. Kings split the series up in the second game. Then the Kings take the lead in game 3. It's back and forth, is my point. It's back and forth. Game 5, Sacramento is able to barely get the win here and take a 1-game lead. So it's 3-2, right? Or 3-1? Am I losing my fucking mind right now?
Is this the greatest series ever?
No. Absolutely not.
Why? Wait, time out.
We're gonna get into it. We will get into it. You gotta let me.
I would put it more towards like the most infamous series ever, maybe.
That's a better way of looking at it. Yeah, this is easily the most infamous series ever. But and this is why. Game 6. Game 6. Lakers barely edge them out, right?
Yeah.
Kings were up 3-2 in the series. I want to look at free throws. Chris Webber and the Kings took 25 free throws on the game. That's not bad. The Lakers took almost double. Shaq got 17. Kobe got 11. And let's see when they got them, because this is also important.
Are we sure this is not Game 7? That's so.
I'm 1,000% sure it's Game 6.
Okay.
because it has to do with the free throws. They got, of their 40, they got almost 20 of them in the fourth quarter.
They got 25, 27 in the fourth.
In the fourth quarter of the game.
Yeah, okay. This is the game.
Now let's have some fun.
And
Let's
they won by 4. Yeah.
Let's watch how they got them. So let's watch how some of these Kings guys got their fouls. So this is a moving screen. This is called the moving screen foul on Scott Pollard, who clearly looks happy he got the call. Totally thrilled. So here comes Shaq. Shaq's about to get fouled here. That they call the foul, where you can literally see this blonde fuck not jumping at all. Probably because he's not athletic enough, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish they showed some of the slow-mo replays because that's what makes this. Mike Bibby's got the ball. Mike Bibby is one of the most, he's a point guard I'd want to have on a team that was winning a championship. Like, you know what I mean? That was a foul on Chris Webber.
Do you think it would? Are you disagreeing or are you agreeing on that?
Let's go back. What do you think?
I don't think in that era it's a foul, but now it definitely is.
Hold that thought. I'm going to get to that. Because I would disagree, but.
You don't think it's a foul?
I don't think that's a foul against Chris Webber.
He literally lowered his shoulder into his chest. In this era, it's a foul. In that era, it's not.
I've seen DeMarcus Cousins do way worse and not get any calls. Like
DeMarcus Cousins has not played like in a couple of years, or at least to that level.
He's not from this era. I don't. I get. I mean, I wasn't looking at it like that, but okay.
Well, what 2020 is definitely different than 2020 is different than 5 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, okay. I'm not even.
No, I definitely think it's not a foul. Definitely at that point.
I think in 2020, that guy Robert Horry, who I'm pretty sure that is, gets a fine for flopping. That's what I think.
I promise you, if you was Robert Horry, you would not think that was a flop.
I'm sure.
He literally put his shoulder dead in his chest.
He really.
He lowered his shoulder.
What do you think?
I can see it. I can see where the shoulder goes in there, but he bounces right off of it.
Oh, we're gonna get the replay. I'm an asshole. We're gonna get the replay. Here we go.
If I'm watching it at that point, seeing how basketball is played at that point.
Here we go. Here's the replay.
Yeah, like he went below his. That's definitely now it's definitely a foul. At that point, I would not call it a foul because
Okay, so I see Kawhi do shit like that all the time when he's going from the elbow and the post up where he just gives that space with his arm. I see him do that constantly.
Yeah.
But you know what? With your shoulder though.
Look at the Jordan. You remember the Jordan?
No, I know, not the shoulder, but he does move that arm out, the arm that they're attached to, like he.
But that's not the thing. It's the shoulder. Is that's like the football. That's like football.
Harden does it all the time. Unquestionably, Harden does it to the point where he takes his arm and pulls you in, like to make it look even worse. Like it makes you look like you're doing something, but you're not. Like, and I've seen Jordan not get called for literally putting his hand on a guy like that and get no call in a few years earlier.
Wait, time out. What are we talking about right now? Am I disagreeing with you guys? Because I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing with you guys. I think at that point in time, it's not a foul.
Yeah,
I think right now that's a foul.
Yeah, I don't agree. We don't agree on that, but that's okay.
But I mean, if you was playing defense on me and I put my shoulder into your chest, you're gonna feel like that's a foul.
Yeah,
especially if you Robert Horry and that's Chris Webber. Like he's a pretty big guy. Like
I mean, Robert Horry's no small person here.
I guess
6'7", 6'8". All right, hold on. We gotta keep moving up, keep rolling with this. So here comes. So that's a foul. I don't know who that's on. They should show a replay because that was a fucking scramble.
That face. Oh my god.
I feel it.
Stress.
But in all honesty though, like if like pretty much what they're doing is they're giving them any 50-50 ball. Right?
Yeah.
And if that's a foul right there.
Yeah, I would say that's a foul. I would definitely agree on that.
But you can see that this team they lost because of themselves though as well. Like you can see it. They're quitting. They're letting the refs control the game. Like if you can, I've seen cases where I feel like the refs are controlling the game and they don't let it happen. Like Warriors Cavs. There was times that the and the only reason I don't like, I agree that we've already established that I think that this is definitely some cheating shit, obviously. But what I'm saying is, I think they could have won the game regardless of it. But they were fucking themselves up with the way that they were.
That's a foul. If I've ever seen it.
Yeah,
a flagrant in any era. That is a flagrant. He blasted him. Look at this. Watch this.
Shaq did that same shit to AI in the 2001 finals. He did the same shit.
Flagrant then.
That not in the. Are you kidding me? That's a flagrant. There was in the 80s. I see literally people fist fight.
Now you're not even keeping it to.
You said, what are you talking about? You literally said that's a flagrant in any era. And I was just going back to your point.
I would still call it a flagrant in the 80s if I saw that shit.
And they literally fist fought and no one got. There was no flagrants and they just played on. Like
that looked just like the Kurt Rambis play, where they fought. That was crazy. They should have gotten the ball and free throws.
I don't know did they not?
They did. That was not a flagrant. It was a regular foul. It was a regular foul. That's all ball. If I've ever seen it, and I'm looking forward. They called it on Webber too. I just want that to be known. They did not call it on Chris. They called it on Webber. It would have made way more sense to call it on Christie. If you're going to call it something, call it on Christie. But to call this on Webber is insane.
Yeah, that was clear. That was
insane.
That was all ball. That was disgusting.
Yeah. Right? They're still in this game, mind you, through all this shit.
Well, I think they had to have been up. I think they were up and going into this quarter.
Oh, I would say definitely, considering all the free throws the Lakers got in this quarter.
Yeah.
I'm going back just a hair because I want to I do want to see this Webber play one more time, but because it's a beautiful block. And this next play, I want you to watch Kobe. Because this is crazy. Because this they didn't call a foul for what we're about to see.
Yeah,
so watch.
I can't believe it.
Watch Kobe. Watch Kobe. That's Kobe, right? Or no, it's not Kobe.
No, it's not.
He's over here. He's over here. Oh! He was right at the free throw line. Bibby is down.
Wait, they called a foul.
They did not call a foul.
No, they just called the foul, didn't they? Wait. No, not on that. On the other on before, but after he gets the ball.
Because of this. Watch the Bamba. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, you see, yeah, they called the foul. They did. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. You see that I don't know though. That like he's not letting Kobe get into position. Like that's like literally it's 50. That's what I'm saying. They're giving the Lakers every single 50-50 call.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah,
but that's because that's definitely not. That is not as cut and dry as like the Webber shit. Like the Webber shit was easily not a foul at all. But like you can't like he literally look he's holding him like you're not letting him get into any position. You can't.
But
yeah, you saw that right hand. He was literally holding on to Kobe's jersey.
Well, yeah, around the waist.
It's got to be a double foul when you get bopped in the head.
Yeah, well, I don't think they called the foul on that. I think they called the foul afterwards. That's the shit that's even more fucked up about it. Because I'm pretty sure they let the play happen. He got the ball, and then someone came behind Kobe, and then they called a foul. I don't think it was on that play.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I was bugging out. I was like,
well, that's why I said that they call a foul after the fact, and then you were bringing up the layup foul. Who's this shooting?
I think it's Ori.
Oh, I thought it was Kobe because I thought like he had just finished hitting free throw. I'm like, that's not Kobe's shit. Like,
but yeah, Lakers get that game right. This is also the same series with the Robert Horry shot from the top of the key or the top of the 3-point line.
Yeah, that's game 4.
I'm sorry, I may have missed this, but at the time of game 6, was the East already decided?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I cannot say that with certainty.
No, I'm the only reason I'm sure is because why everyone started feeling like it was fixed because they were like they're definitely not about to let the Nets and Sacramento go to the finals. I'm surprised they let the freaking Nets go to the finals over Celtics because Celtics and Lakers would have been way better to watch.
I didn't even know the Celtics made the conference finals this year, but that was
so an Eastern Conference game
probably. But it was at night. It was afterward. It was afterward. Yeah. I already knew.
You're definitely gonna, especially at that time, you make Lakers are the prime time game. So
yeah. Damn, man.
Well, ain't that some shit right there?
But then game 7, right? This is my thing. Like in the Spurs case in 2014, where they get fucked in game 6, and it's like it's a different kind of fucked, but they get fucked in game 6 and they don't have the energy to come back for game 7. I get it because they're all significantly older, and like
in 2004,
you have to in 2014. I'm saying against the Heat when
why you felt like they got fucked?
No, I'm saying like they.
He's saying because they thought they were gonna win game 6, but then that shit happened at the end. They weren't fucked by the refs.
Oh, like emotionally drained.
Yeah.
Okay.
Precisely. Yeah. And the Kings had to feel the same way. Thank you, Lindsay.
I thought you were just because since we were talking about the ref shit, like I was thinking that you were trying to say the refs cheated. I was like,
no, they didn't. No, it was kind of fucked. Like, yeah, it was. Yeah. Good. But my thing is, you still have a chance to win game 7, right? Am I crazy to think that? What's the free throw disparity here? We got 30 free throws.
And it's been a back and forth series the whole time. So it's one, you win one, I win one, you win one, I win one. So it's not like.
And it's 33 for LA. So like, I don't know. Maybe because I've looked into this series a lot because I know the fix was in for the fucking. Just one of those things.
And especially now having 2020 hindsight, I'm never arguing that series was fixed because I agree 100%. I was just saying, what I was saying was those are a lot of those calls are calls that could go either way, and they always gave it to the Lakers. Like that, and that's the luxury of refereeing, and they didn't at that point they didn't have instant replay and stuff, so they're not gonna, you can't. It's not like because instant replay now kind of minimizes all of that shit. You know what I mean? Like if you were a ref trying to,
You want to know what's crazy?
What?
If you look at the total free throws for the whole series, Lakers only lead by 1 free throw.
Yeah, and that makes sense though because
that's interesting.
They were playing Princeton offense, and it's pretty much big men getting easier buckets by the paint. So that makes sense that you'd be getting fouled more often because you're in, you're in the paint at all moments of the game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it makes sense that you'd get more foul calls.
So now we're looking at
And especially, and that's another thing where stats fucking lie, because if you looked at that, anyone who was like right now, if I was a 14-year-old kid and I was watching this, and I'd be like, well, everyone says the Lakers got cheated out of the series, but cheated to win the series, but look at the free throw advantage, and everyone talks about the free throw. But if you were actually, if you actually knew the facts and watched film and shit, or at least watch the game, you'd know exactly what happened.
That's why I wanted to check out the stats first, because I was so interested to see that stuff, because I'm sure when the league was brought up on charges of fixing those games, that was some shit they pointed to.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sure.
100%.
All right, so Shaq's your Finals MVP. I'm going to put some game film on in a second, but Shaq's your Finals MVP in this devastating sweep. Absolutely destroyed.
The Lakers were underdogs going in, I'm pretty sure. Because which is weird. I don't know why.
I guess these games were close, but let's see what Jason Kidd did.
The only reason I knew that was because there's pictures of Kobe before the series saying that the Lakers are in trouble, and then there's pictures of Kobe after the series, like with newspaper like clippings. And I know he was being an asshole, and it shows Kobe. Yeah, I mean, Lakers in 4. He's a dick. I love it. Thanks.
But so 4 players in double figures. Lots of 3-point shooting for the time, for the era. It's got some guys taking threes.
Is Jason Kidd a star at this point, a superstar?
Yeah. Did you see his averages? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he's in the top 5 MVP voting also. 27 and almost 10 with 2.3 steals. Percentage is horribly inefficient, but this is like the era of inefficiency. No one cares about that shit right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure. It's just interesting to look back at, considering what we know now.
I don't think you see, and I feel like in the playoffs even more, inefficiencies aren't looked at as much because the games it's just, I don't know, it's definitely and at that point it's a lot more of like the big man game, so like rebounding and shit like makes it not matter as much, like versus now where when you shoot a 3, more than likely the other team is getting the rebound now, so you have to be really efficient if you're just going to be shooting threes most of the game, because you're never going to get the ball back.
True. That's very true. But now that we're at the end of this three-peat, or reaching the end of it, as I'm showing the highlights here from Kobe, is this the greatest three-peat of all time?
Greatest?
Yeah, because we got a couple of them to look at.
Let's think about them.
I feel like it would be
do we have a couple of I don't know.
Like it would be a hard
We only have
sell,
2.
though. I feel like it would be a hard sell though to say it's the greatest when you have the rigging in the last one, That'd be like the hard sell. Unless you can like honestly point out in the other three-peats where the refs gave up to the people that were three-peating, it'd be a hard sell to make this your top one.
Yeah. The Bulls three-peat, the first three-peat that they had is definitely the to me the best.
You think so? And so there's 3 teams, just so we're aware. The Celtics in the 60s. We got the Bulls.
I don't know think about that.
Of course you did. God forbid. God forbid.
Well, why would you? Like, why would you think about that? Like, it's not competition. Like, why are you going to think about that?
All I'm thinking is, they won 8. They won 8.
Who cares? Who cares?
They doubled the 3. They had an 8-peat, okay? Not even close. Not even close.
God.
8-peat. Ocho. This many. Fucking so many in a row. Total dominance.
Oh, my God.
We got this bullshit that we're looking at right here. And then we got...
This was way funner to watch than any of those freaking Boston years. I promise you that.
I agree with you. Funner's not a word. But if we're talking about this, I agree with Lindsay about free throw disparities in the series. And I think that the Jordan one, the first one, was the most competitive. I think
it's not even close. It's not even close. Like that's definitely the best.
I
Like
think
think
there were
about
competitive teams in this era. I think the problem was with this era is that this team was so dominant, much like the almost three-peat we had with the Warriors. The era is not like there wasn't as much competition to go against them. Like there was nobody that we looked at and like these are the guys who can defeat them.
But to me, the reason it's not close is mainly because there was way more epicness in the bullshit. And then and it was just it wasn't as I guess there wasn't as much of a super team, I felt like because this is some super team shit. Like just Kobe and Shaq at the time is just clearly the two best players in the NBA at that
Yeah,
point.
but they also have the right role players around them. Like that's not to be forgotten. I mean, Shaq doesn't let anyone forget it.
No, yeah, and I definitely agree. But I just think there's just like anyone going into any of those seasons thinking it's not going to be LA in the finals, even though it wasn't LA in every single finals, to me is just weird because it's like how could you not? Like this is the war. It's very similar to like the Warriors run where everyone was just like, the Warriors are going to the finals, the Cavs, whatever, and it was I could see. But you still love to watch it because it's the two great stars. But I just feel like with Jordan, there was just so much fun shit, and Jordan made it more fun because he kind of added more challenges to himself as he added like unnecessary challenges to make it. But you know what I mean? Like he made up shit in his mind to make it like more than what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And when you have shit like the that scandal that we just finished watching, it kind of makes it not. It definitely diminishes it significantly.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like, I still think that they were the best team in the era, though.
Oh yeah,
I don't.
You
think
still get the best team won.
I like I don't know. It's hard. This is the thing. The Kings almost won the game with the Robert Horry shot, and they probably should have won Game 6. So it's hard for me to say that the best team this year won the finals. Because I think that, like, if two things that are unbiasedly lucky go the other way, well, one's lucky and then one's just like someone's out to get you.
In reality, this season should have been the beginning of the end. I think this is just prolonged the Lakers. I think they run it back the one last time, and then that's when the Spurs win it. And then
no, you're right.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it.
Yeah,
we'll get into it.
but it's just I feel like in reality, what happened in this, especially knowing what we know now,
Right.
like pretty much Kobe and Shaq weren't meshing anymore, and it was clearly being shown on the floor because you see them like just Kobe and Shaq the year before they demolished this Kings team, and they would have demolished them again if I feel like if they would have been. And I don't know if maybe this Kings team, it was a different coach or something, or like what made them so much better, but there's no reason the Lakers should go 7 games with this team if they were at full strength, like full chemistry, because we saw what that team was, 16-1. Like,
yeah, that I understand, but yeah, it's just hard. It's just hard to say the Kings were like not what they like. It's hard to say the Kings weren't all that when.
They were. They should have won. They should have won, and I think it should have ended. It should the storyline should have been was the Lakers are are pretty much. Wow, there's so much. Look at that East.
Yeah, I know.
I've never seen that where 52 wins won the East. Yep. Have we ever seen that before? I don't think that's not a lockout year.
I'd have to look into it.
I feel like that's really weird.
Oh, it's a very weak East. That's why whoever won the Western Conference, it was like 100%.
Yeah, and it makes sense that the Celtics won, because at the time it was just Paul Pierce, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And Antoine Walker.
Yeah.
But Kings, no one in this league won 60 games except for them.
Yeah.
Nobody. So I just think they had a really good team, and I think that they were doing the passing shit. Like this team was all about moving the ball. And what we've learned, what I know throughout history and basketball history, like look at this, multiple guys over 4 assists a game. The ball is moving. Lots of guys getting assists.
Yeah.
And lots of guys in double figures.
Yeah.
And they had a definitive guy in Chris Webber. Like, he was the star. So
how didn't he win MVP? How didn't he win MVP this year?
So he
must have came second.
Duncan, so Webber was 7th. He only played 54 games.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, you win 61 games.
But that's more to the credit of the team.
Yeah. Even better. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's hard to say that the best team won this year. It's really hard to say that. And it's really hard to say that Lakers team, even at full chemistry, wouldn't have had trouble with this team. Because even Shaq says that they consistently had trouble with Sacramento. Like, I know what you're saying about the year before, but this team was apparently different to everybody.
That's so crazy because literally the year before, the Lakers swept them, and then this year they went for 7 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So sometimes look, sometimes you get traumatized by some shit, and then you come back and you're fire afterwards. Like,
most of the time when you look at it in history, teams that go 7 games or long series with a team, the very next year, if they have that same matchup, they usually one of the teams blow them out. Like one of the team it's historic. Like I've seen it a bunch of times, and I'm surprised by it, but I've noticed it a lot in history.
Because I always find them to be closer series. Like outside of the Warriors Cavs, where the talent is completely outmatched. Like I find it pretty even. Like I'm thinking of Boston, LA in the 80s.
Yeah, Miami. The one that just that comes to mind easily is Miami and Spurs.
Yeah, but that's
the 7 game.
That's because Pop was an infinitely better coach than Spoelstra. Should they have broken it up after this? Should they have? What if they had just split up after this? They couldn't have done it, right? They had to go for the next championship. They had to.
Yeah, it's the same case with the Bulls. Like that 98 Bulls where they won that 5th chip. They wanted to break it up, but they couldn't, so they made them do it again. Then they won it again, and then Phil Jackson just said, "Fuck this." But they were gonna let it happen again, So
I'm out of here.
Yeah.